Hello, everyone. Hi, we're late. It's all right. Gonna do a little bit of sharing, and we'll get started here. So if you're watching this in memories, just fast forward a little bit. When you come on, let us know who you are. See some people on the Facebook, on YouTube. Let us know who you are when you come on. Of course, Facebook, our group on Facebook lets us know automatically. Let us know. We see Leah, we see Loretta Johnson on Facebook, the group Tag Team Wedding. And share that over to some other groups. Pages. Get started on my announcement. Today is Untitled, guys. We don't have a title. So going to be Q&A. You got questions. We got some, hopefully we got answers that'll help you, So feel free to ask any question that you may have. Doesn't have to be on any subject matter. Of course, as we continue to talk, there'll be other subject matters that'll come up. And, those things usually work out great. It's all about y'all tonight. All right. All right, on my Facebook, Coach Renz, Larenzo Reed Facebook. Who we got over here? Who we got? I see 3 people. Who we got over there? We can talk about anything tonight. As far as relationship is concerned, how you doing, Eric? Eric Bell. We talk about struggles that you may have, things that are great. You got some great things that's going on in your life right now. Positivity is always a great thing as well. As my wife is figuring out the Tag Team Wedding page for YouTube, we do want you guys to start subscribing over to the Tag Team Wedding YouTube page. As you know, we have our Tag Team Wedding, our anniversary, February 20th, 2021, coming up. You can still RSVP by going to tagteamwedding.com. Just take care of your food and beverage as it's been catered by Wolfgang Puck, and we're good to go. We look forward to seeing you guys on that weekend. As far as everything else, still doing things, so we can't do the shirts. We always have our board back there, a quarter 3 strands. It's not easily broken, especially when you put some water on that thing. So what's been going on in you guys' lives? Why? I see you there. Armani, how you doing? Stacy, how you doing? Sofin, how you doing? All right. Getting some people, tag marriages up. All right. Our shirts, nothing makes sense when we're apart. What the shirts say. How's everybody doing? How you doing? Anything you want to say?
Good evening. Sorry we are late. Sorry we're late. Like you said, there's no specific tonight. We talked about
Yeah.
Any questions, comments? We love to have
So to get us started tonight, Why People Why over on my YouTube page said, should people why come? No, should people become? I think is what she's saying. Should people become parents, but also have their own individual relationships slash marriages, still participate in events for their ex that doesn't benefit the child? Should people who come, yeah, yeah. So basically, I believe what she's saying is that if you're with someone and y'all become parents, but also have their own individual relationship. Oh, people who co-parent, but also have their own individual relationship of marriage, still participate in events for the ex that doesn't benefit the child.
No, if it doesn't benefit the child, you said co-parent, people who co-parent.
Right. So let's establish the parameters.
So if there's nothing going on that involves the child, like say the ex's birthday party, something of that nature.
Well, I'm going to say it depends on the people.
Okay. Yes. So so for clarity, because why people why I love you, but why people why I had some typos, so we were trying to figure out what was being said. So the question says, should people who co-parent but also have their own individual relationships, marriages, still participate in events for the ex that doesn't benefit the child? Okay. So and then I gave an example. I gave an example like if the ex was having a birthday party. I guess would you go? Would you go? You can't retract it. Would you go to an ex's birthday party? I guess. And it doesn't. It has nothing to do with the child. An adult party, I guess, for example, it has nothing to do with the child. Why people? Why is that about right? You know, you can't see because why people? Why is um
On my YouTube.
Larenzo's YouTube. Okay, like a party.
All right.
All right.
Okay. So to me, I think it depends on the level of the respect within the relationship and uh, how the relationship is set up, and the maturity of the couples that are within the relationship. Now, on the surface, there's no reason if it's not affecting the child, but everything that affects the child is not always right in your face. Because if you got two co-parents who can get along well enough that if one is having an adult birthday party and the child is not going to be there, it does benefit the child in the fact that you have two co-parents who are maintaining a very civil relationship. Now, if it was, oh, you're invited, but your mate is not invited, that's a problem, right? That indicates an issue. But if the other couple's mate is also invited to this party and everybody, oh, mate, she said mate not invited. Okay, so mate not invited, no.
I don't agree whether the mate is invited or not. Because if it's not benefiting the child, how is it a benefit for the child?
That's what I was saying. There's a sub level benefit for the child in that you're keeping a really good relationship.
You don't have to party together.
Well, you don't. There are many things you can or cannot do with each other, but I mean, I don't see a problem with it as long as everybody is.
Well, said the mate is not invited, so there's an ulterior motive.
Well,
why are you coming?
Yeah,
why
when she said that,
invited?
When she put that the mate's not invited, that's when I switched to here. Like, and that's a problem.
Why I still don't agree whether the mate is invited or not. It doesn't benefit the child at all. If you are a co-parenting and you understand everything that you do is for the purpose of the child, why do anything outside of something that's for the purpose of the child? That's for the purpose of the adults. Has nothing to do with the child. So if you co-parenting and your focus, both of your focus is your child, then you're going to be cordial. You're going to be considerate of one another. But that doesn't mean you have to socialize and party together and do things that the child has no clue about. So I don't know if this is a general question or it's a personal experience or whatever, but in my opinion, I don't see a need to invite my ex to an event that a child or children are involved in or benefiting from.
Yeah, I just see it differently. I think it depends on the relationships, and it have to be a case by case situation. You remember the movie Waiting to Exhale? Was it no? How Stella Got a Groove Back? Remember that movie?
Mm-hmm.
And when she came back from Jamaica,
That's not for I don't know if you
yeah, it's the microphone. I did mean for it to begin that, but it's not gonna make a difference. But when she came back from Jamaica, um, they was having like a barbecue, or they was having like an event, and her ex husband was there. But everybody was just having fun. Like you can tell they had this relationship that there was nothing going on. It's just they all just still family, still connected.
I don't remember that. I'm not.
Yeah, because remember he was sitting there and he made a comment to not Waiting to Exhale. That's why I changed it. Not Waiting to Exhale. How Stella Got a Groove Back. And when she brought Tay Diggs back and they went to the party, her ex-husband was at the party, and the ex-husband and Tay Diggs' character actually sat there and they were having like conversation and talking and that sort of thing.
They were at a party. Was it their specific party and they invited?
I don't remember exactly.
So that doesn't apply. That's the
question. But what I'm saying is,
well, they're still participating in events.
What I'm saying is that it depends on the level of the maturity within those situations and the relationships. A friend of mine is married, and her hubby attends just about
all of his ex's events, but never bring her, and the child is now 21.
Well, see, that's a problem.
That's a big problem.
Different. That's why I said it would have to be case by case, in my opinion, because that's the hubby still holding affection and still carrying a torch for his ex-wife, and that, yeah, I would agree and say that's the issue.
That's why I always say just stay away from situations that could cause some type of conflict, that could cause a reasoning or a question or a doubt. Like why is it relevant to go to social events and be with your ex in any form outside of your children?
Well, because see, that's what I'm saying. It depends. So this is my experience. This is my own personal experience. Okay. So my family in Marietta is huge, and we are deeply connected. Now, my uncle, his name is Eugene, but we call him Uncle Head. My Uncle Head, or even my Uncle Butchie, their children with my aunt are all grown. But when we have family events, they are invited, and there's never an issue, no problem. There's never been an issue. So I've grown up used to seeing my aunt's two ex-husbands at Christmas parties or 4th of July events, barbecues, that sort of things. And it's all peaceful. It's all great. That's still Uncle Butchie. That's still Uncle Head. And nobody ever had an issue.
We don't know who had issues. We don't know if the people personally involved had issues. Everybody partying together. And as a child, you don't know the adult issues
as a child, but
because somebody involved in the situation could have had an issue
the whole time.
But the issue could have either been ignored or
the whole time that I've been an adult and been around my family and been talked to like an adult, it's never been an issue. If my Aunt May was sitting right here, she would tell you that
it was her exes.
Yeah, she would tell you that it's never been an issue. Like it's never. There's the only time something has been an issue. Like there was one ex of my Aunt Net, but he did some dastardly stuff within the family, so of course he was pushed away. But if one of my if my cousin's dad came to an event, it's not a problem. When he does come, let me not say it, when he does come, there's never a problem.
You're making it general though. This is specific.
Yeah, no, that's why I was saying general. That's why I was saying it's case by case, because that's my case by case experience.
Case based on what she's asking.
Well, no, I've already said what she said is like, no, that dude is still carrying a torch for the woman.
Yeah, it's not appropriate.
Yeah.
It's not
Yeah,
appropriate.
that in that situation, I would definitely say no. You shouldn't do that at all. That's jacked up. And his his wife should have an issue with him going and not inviting her and not bringing her.
I'm sure she probably does, but does he care?
He may
That'd be
not.
the problem. He may not care.
And if he don't care, then she needs to reevaluate why she's there, because that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, obviously the ex is where he want to be.
Yeah, I mean, if either one of us was invited to any event that involved one of our exes, and I or you was like, well, I'm going, but you're not, I don't want you to go. That's a problem. That's wholly different. I mean,
yeah,
and he really, honestly, he should man up and just say, well, you know what? I'm trying to have my cake and eat it too. Trying to figure out if I can get back with her. And if he's going to do that, he just needs to go full fledged into that, because he should just be honest with his current wife and just let her know that I still got feelings for her. That's why I don't want you to go, but I'm gonna keep going.
Who's going to do
that? I'm saying he should.
Okay, let me tell you, you're not going with me because I'm still checking for my ex-wife.
Well, he should end it. Okay, maybe that's not how he's gonna say it.
No, how about it's over?
It's over, and then do whatever he's gonna do.
So
So that's a better way. My bad. I'm being too transparent. He ain't gonna be that transparent. But he should just tell her that, look, this ain't gonna work. And break it off.
One more thing, he claims he goes because the daughter asked. He needs to explain to his daughter that whatever they do is because they love her and it involves her. If it doesn't involve her, then
if the daughter is asking, then the problem still is, to me, I don't see a problem with them going. The problem is that he doesn't bring his wife.
Correct.
That's the problem. Because even if the daughter asks,
how old is the daughter?
She's 21. Right there.
The daughter, and
so, and I'm saying, even if the daughter asks, if the daughter said, "Hey, I want you to come over," we having a birthday bash for mom and whatever, right? He should be like, okay, if he is gonna say yes, he's like, okay, me and whatever his wife name will be there.
He's not involved though.
But that's what I'm saying. So since he's doing that, whether it's at the daughter's behest or his behest,
she needs to reevaluate if she wants to be in that relationship with him or that marriage.
Don't need reevaluate. She need to leave.
It's obvious that he's telling her where his mind and his heart and his thoughts are. Mm-hmm. Even if it's based on the daughter. Like, okay, so your daughter's asking, so now it's okay because your daughter is involved now. I want to make sure my child is happy. No, that's not what's happening.
He shouldn't exclude his wife. Mm-mm. If he's gonna go, his wife should be right there with him. So
thank you, why for kicking that off.
Good question.
Right? Everybody is quiet.
I know this is Q&A. Like, maybe you guys want to revisit. I mean, a lot of y'all was asking about revisiting some other shows, previous shows that we did, things that talked about intimacy. What was another show they talked about? I had it in my head and it just dropped.
I mean, it's been several that people have come back and kind of.
They want a part 2.
Yeah, a part 2. They, some may not be here tonight. So we kind of shooting from the hip tonight, you guys. We, totally honest. We wanted to have a Q&A, but we didn't necessarily plan it to be tonight. But since we're here. And we love for you guys to join in and have some discussions. It doesn't matter what the title, what the subject is.
Yep. Let her rip. Whatever the subject matter, we are good to go. We'll do our best, at least. I have. What about that? What's that show you was watching the other night? With the girl they've been together for 2 years.
Married to Millions.
Yeah, that scenario.
Marrying Millions, right? Something like that.
So I don't know. Since y'all ain't asking questions, I got a scenario for you. We was watching this show called Marrying Millions, and there's one couple on there where the young lady, she's been dating the guy for 2 years. And correct me if I'm wrong on this, because Donna knows more about the show than I do. She's been with the guy for 2 years. She lives in California. He lives in DC. He's paying for her lifestyle, right? He's paying for her lifestyle, flying her back and forth, paying for her place that she lives in DC, place that she lives in California. But she is saying that they're not going to have sex before they get married. Okay. And it's been 2 years. But she also kisses him. They kiss like they about to break it down. And then she came to the hot tub in a two-piece thong bikini. So a lot of teasing going on. So he had an indiscretion 6 months ago where he had a one-night stand, as he claims, with somebody. And she was just so distraught and feeling betrayed and all this kind of stuff. So what do you guys thoughts about that whole scenario? There's any portion of it, any part of it, doesn't matter what part. I'm not even picking any part to center on. Just what do you think about that scenario? Because we was just like looking at that and just going off on so many different levels about that whole scenario. Like how is something like that don't even make sense? The whole thing. You know, what should the guy do? Now he proposed to her to try to save the relationship, but what do you think he should have done? You know, is she right? Is he right? Is she wrong? Is he wrong? Where are they right? Where are they wrong? You know, there's so many things about that one. So come on, let's see what you guys got on that one. What you think about it? What? You have something about it?
Oh, I was trying to wait. Yeah.
Go ahead.
So my perspective is, I think she's totally wrong because I understand saving yourself to marriage, but why do we feel like that only applies to sex? Why is she taking this man's money? Why is she allowing him to treat her and provide for her as if she was a wife? Yet she won't give him some of the benefits of being a wife. Like she's holding so heavy and hard to her spiritual, Christian, whatever beliefs, that she's not going to fornicate with him. Yet he pays all her bills. He bought her a house. I mean, in my opinion, I think she's dead wrong.
And she dresses provocatively around.
Oh my gosh. She definitely, like, I don't understand how the man made it a year and a half, to be honest. Because he said he will get to the point they will kiss, and it wasn't no pecks, no, oh, I love you, and this is what to come. Like, she tonguing him down. He,
like, you ready for the porn music to start?
Yeah, and then it's like, no, I don't want to go too far because we're not married. I wanted to reach through the TV and slap her. Like, you giving people who hold hard to that, who have moral and spiritual and religious values and beliefs, that say, you making it look like a joke, that say, I'm saving myself to marriage. I want to make sure that we don't have sex and be together in that intimate way until we're husband and wife. I mean, she walking around in pretty much nothing, teasing him. I think she's a big tease, to be honest. I think she's a big tease.
Now, I agree with everything that my wife said. The thing that I would add to it is I think that the dude is stupid. And I think he's wrong for trying to propose to her as a way to fix his transgression. Now, I'm not saying he was right for stepping out on their relationship because they had a trust and he did violate that trust. I'm saying he's wrong for that one. But when he violated the trust, he should have broke it off right at that moment.
How did they have a trust? I don't even feel like they had a trust.
Well, they had a trust of saying that they was in a relationship.
And she was in a relationship, giving him a trust that she's in a relationship.
Yeah.
She's building a relationship.
I mean, she
has his best interest at heart. Taking all his money and then telling him, don't touch my thigh, is not having his best interest at heart.
No, I mean, she's teasing him.
She broke the trust as well as he did. Now, he physically broke the trust. He slept with somebody. But so like, why do we feel like certain acts dictate if you were unfaithful? He physically slept with somebody, he was unfaithful. What about the mental?
Now I was gonna get to that part.
She had going on.
She is mentally gaming. She's mentally gaming him. She's mentally what she's doing is mentally putting him in a control situation where whenever they do get married, she's going to be able to move him like a chess piece.
No, she is.
Or whatever, to which she wound up doing, because this Joker went out and spent like $200,000 on an engagement ring, and she maneuvered him perfectly into this proposal.
And mind you, his mother is like, I don't agree, because he did not even tell his mother for 2 years that she even existed. Mom didn't even know she existed. That would be a problem for me as a female on that end.
Yeah.
Like, you can't even tell your family who I am.
Yeah. So there's a whole bunch of things there. None of y'all said anything about that, so y'all kind of disappointed me on that one. Y'all be leaving the brother out hanging to dry here. Nobody had an opinion about that one. Nothing. All y'all fired. Every last one, except why people why. And the rest of y'all fired. So any other questions? Anything that we got? Any great things that's going on in you guys' lives, relationship? Anybody find them a new boo? Anything going on? We need some. This is Q&A. This is Q&A. I was up late and up early. I'm already sleepy. Go to sleep on y'all. You got anything? Anything you marinating on over there?
Marinating on a few things.
Anything you want to share that you marinate on?
So let's go into. Sorry. Let's go into relationship difficulties. Let's pick a topic and let's go with it, since we dealt with why people why topic. Mm-hmm. We appreciate that. Let's go into something that may get people responding. So when you have difficult times in your relationships, what do you do? What do you do to hold the relationship to say, you know what, I want to work through this, I want to stick this out, I want to make the effort to make sure we get beyond and get past this difficult moment in this difficult time? Like what do you do? When you at your wit's end and you want to walk away, but you know you love the person, you love your spouse, and you're not there to quit and end, but you just need something to say, this is why I'm here, and I'm going to adhere to why I'm here and stick with it. So what do you do in difficult times? Hey.
Hey, Paulette.
Yeah, y'all name is Paul.
Paulette.
Paulette. Paul and Claudette. Paulette. Hey, Paulette. So what do you do in difficult times? I know Paulette. They have some good advice. Mm-hmm. They definitely give us good advice. Paulette is my sister and my brother-in-law, Paul and Claudette. But they like this, so we call it. That's a good one. Paulette. So, what do you guys do? Like, what helps you stick it out and stick with it? And even if you're not married and you're looking to be married and you're in a serious relationship and y'all consider that, and you realize there's some tough times coming and you have to prepare yourself, what do you do? So first you have to stick together as a team. You have to stick together as a team.
Gabriel said, "What? You need to go, dude. I don't know who you are. But we do not do that on my page, there, buddy." Oh, that's not what I want to do. I am, we can remove you, sir. I had somebody saying stupid stuff on my page and on my YouTube. We don't do that. We can get rid of people who do that. That's the only thing about going live. Anybody can jump on. So sometimes you go on YouTube, you just got to ban a joker.
Okay, so they're giving some. Paul and Claudia is saying first you have to stick together as a team. You have to stick together as a team. So any of you all who have played sports or even watched sports or even been on a team like in school, you put teams together. Um, we have to realize that we can't win unless we have our team. One person can't win by themselves. So sticking together as a team, whether you have someone on the team who's weak or you have someone on the team who's strong. So I played basketball pretty much all my life. Um, and I was either shooting guard, point guard, whatever, number one. And it took other people on the team who were a bit weaker than me, who were maybe not as good of a player than me, for us to win. There was nothing I could do by myself. I always had to be able to pass the ball to someone or assist them or whatever for us to win. So that's a good one. You have to stick together as a team. So no matter what comes, what direction, no matter who comes in what direction, you have to focus on the team to make sure that at the end of the day the team wins. And in this scenario, for what we're talking about, relationship, the team is the husband and the wife. Everything else and everybody else surrounding that team, the positivity and the effects of how that team ends up and how they work would just be a benefit in some ways. And then we have to always realize there are people who want to take the team down and destroy the team. And we have to be mindful of that as well. So sticking together as a team, very good. Appreciate that. You have to believe in one another. Definitely have to believe in one another. When you feel like when you feel like that person is against you in some type of way, you have to believe and understand that we all have personal moments and personal things, and we can't take those things out on one another. So we have to believe that my spouse is upset right now. They may be angry right now, but I have to believe that they're not my enemy, and they're not. Um, I need to believe and trust in them, and know that they'll get past this moment, and it may take me to get them past. Hey, Gail. Gail said, first of all, remembering the vows I took, and like you said, why are we here? Thank you, Gail. So a lot of prayer and communication. A lot of prayer and communication. Yep. Communication doesn't always go the way we want it to or think we should it should, but we gotta bring it back. You have to bring it back. And communicating should always be um communication should not come off nasty or mean. I know we get mad at each other sometimes and we want to say things and we have outbursts. And those outbursts we have to realize do nothing but tear each other down. They don't help. And at the moment you may feel big or you may feel strong or you may feel like you got one over because I said something smart. I got the last word and I made him or her feel small. Not winning at all. Not winning at all. So, Janae, hey girl, you said good question. So give us an answer.
What is it on?
I shared it.
Oh, okay.
Shared it. So what you think? What is a good way to deal with your spouse in conflict when you feeling like ah, what's a good way to deal with your spouse in conflict? Why people? Why? What you think?
Well, one of the questions I always, anytime that we have a conflict, or if I have a conflict with anyone, but especially with my wife, one of the first things I always ask myself is, how am I wrong? I look for how am I wrong in the situation first. And, you know, when you ask yourself, how are you wrong sincerely and openly, because many people, when you get into an argument, you figure you're not wrong, period. Everything you said was right. Everything you did was right. I'm right. I'm right. I'm right. Because you see things from your perspective, your worldview. Um, but when you take a step back and breathe, and you say to yourself, "What? How am I wrong in this? How am I wrong in this situation?" And then you move to rectify your portion of the wrong. It's about when you do that, you soften. Like the Tao talks about how everything that is stiff and rigid is dead. Like when you die, you are stiff and rigid, right? Rigor mortis sets in. But when you were born, when you first hit life, you were nimble and you were flexible, you were soft. You know, rocks are hard, they don't move. Water flows, it's soft. So when you ask yourself, how am I wrong? Sincerely, and you start to realize certain aspects of it, and you may not be the whole thing, the whole aspect of it, you may not be wrong. But then you start, but if you can just soften a bit, and then you're able to have a better communication, a better conversation. Um, when it deals with a whole scenario, you start to look at where everything in the whole scenario is wrong, and try to establish that, and then just move from that perspective. But first, look inside yourself to see where you made mistakes, whether it was at the beginning, the middle, or the end of the whole situation. Why said I don't believe in marriage anymore. Do you believe in relationships? Because I know people who don't believe in the legal aspect of marriage, but do you believe in being in these spiritual relationships?
Would you mind sharing why you don't believe in marriage anymore?
Yeah.
And while we're waiting, Claudia said, never ever talk about a problem after a certain time of night. I agree. We shouldn't. And sometimes we let our emotions get the best of us, and I gotta get this out, and I gotta say this. And it's really no purpose to it. It's lost sleep. It's less heard. It's less focus. Um, even to the point of saying, you know what, let's regroup and come back tomorrow. And sometimes it just takes the other one to remind and say, okay, you know what, I know you're feeling a certain way. I know you may be upset, but can we please talk about this tomorrow because it's not going to be productive for either one of us.
Right. And you have to remember there are almost 8 billion people on the planet with 8 billion different experiences, 8 billion different lives that they've lived, 8 billion ways of thinking, 8 billion ways of handling different things. So sometimes you need that step back, that time to regroup, so you can recognize, oh, I am 1 in 8 billion. They are 1 in 8 billion, and we're trying to do this together. Bring our respective lives together in unity. So it taking that break is a good thing, so that you can kind of get that mental refresher and maybe realize what you should or should not have done or said. Why say yes, I believe in those. I'm guessing you're talking about you believe in spiritual unions, but just not the legal marriage. And like, what's your thought process on it? Thought process on it.
From my experience, it doesn't seem like people like being married. They just stay together because of tradition, security, habit, fear. That is good.
That is
That is good. People, that is good. People like being married. I think sometimes people like the idea of marriage. They like the fantasy of it. They like the TV drama they see of it. Not the drama, but they like the TV dramas
right.
that show this perfect marriage, and everything goes well all the time. I learned today something that we tend to try to veer away from is conflict. But I learned today that conflict is necessary in a relationship. If conflict does not happen in a relationship, somebody is lying, somebody is holding back, somebody is not expressing themselves, and somebody is not getting the freedom and the peace that they deserve in the relationship. So if you feel like conflict in a relationship is a negative thing, think about how the other person may be feeling and think about why you run so much from conflict. Because some of us don't know how to deal with conflict. If you don't know how to deal with conflict and come out on the other side of it, then you may try to run from it and don't want to deal with it. And we shouldn't have it. It's not necessary. It shouldn't happen.
Can you explain like
but
what
in
type
all
of conflict?
honesty,
'Cause there are different
any
levels.
I would say any type of conflict. Because you just said how many people in the world?
Almost 8 billion.
Almost 8 billion. You're one in 8 billion. So that means another person's mindset, their experiences, how they dealt with things, how they were used to dealing with things, because they've come together with you as that other one in that 8 billion, there's going to be conflict and differences. And we have to learn that we have to learn how to deal with each other. So for us, for example, because we always want to be transparent. We always want to be transparent. I don't have a problem with conflict because I realize it is necessary because we take certain words and because they have and we put a negative connotation to every part of it. But that's not necessarily so. He doesn't like conflict. So he tries to what?
I don't have a problem with conflict. It's just the way the conflict is
We're gonna come
done.
back why people are.
I don't see any reason for yelling and arguing and name calling and character assassination. If there's a conflict, is even a discussion, a disagreement is conflict. It's kind of like what Stephen Biko was saying in the courtroom. He was like, we are in conflict right now, but I don't see anybody killing each other or murdering each other or yelling or screaming. When I was in court and a lawyer tried to tell me that, oh, weren't you didn't lose your bearing and all of this stuff is going on, I was like, no, because if I lose I was been trained not to lose my bearing, but trained.
Okay. So what if somebody has not been?
Well, that's not my point. That's the point is not all conflict my issue is that conflict doesn't have to be this yelling and screaming.
Oh no, I agree.
Because that serves no purpose.
I agree. All conflict. I agree that all conflict, all ways of handling conflict.
That's what I'm saying.
Is not necessary.
Yeah. So to say that I don't like conflict is accurate. I don't mind conflict. There's just types of conflicts I will refrain from.
But again, let's go back to that 1 and 8 again.
Mm-hmm.
The way you dealt with things and the way I dealt with things, the way we grew up, the experiences we had were very different. So
our chef is in there cooking, so excuse all the noise she making.
Charisma, like you extra loud. So, for instance, you ain't right.
Now she being extra.
So, for instance, in our family, we have this thing that we say, you better jump in where you can. You jump in when someone takes a breath. And sometimes people who are on the outside would come in and we will be having discussions, laughing, whatever, or having a discussion. And they looking at us like we getting ready to fight. But we're like, you gotta jump in when somebody take a breath. So we know that we're not getting ready to fight. We're not getting ready to go in on each other. Even if the conversation gets heated, there's enough respect to say I'm not going to physically get into an altercation with my brother or with my sister or with my uncle or whatever, because there's a lot of emotion shown in the conversation.
Yeah, but I'm talking about when y'all in this family environment, you're not calling each other names though, or character assassination.
No, there should never be name calling and character assassination. I get that. I agree with that. Does it happen? Yeah, it happens because that means someone has gotten to the point where either they're majorly frustrated, they have not learned how to deal with that other personality, or they have not learned how to deal with conflict in a healthy way. And that's a learning process. So you can't expect someone who comes from a situation where they don't necessarily know or they haven't experienced it or everything about them had to be a fight, 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 and expect them just because you say woosah, they're supposed to calm down. That is not being considerate of the other person's personality and character. And I get it not being right, but it has to get to a level where the other person understands. If someone offends you and you say you're gonna apologize to me, and they turn around and say, "Oh, I'm sorry," who actually benefited from that?
I actually think that they should. If you offend somebody, and
no, that's not what I said. I said if a person offends you, they hurt your feelings, they do something that you don't like, it upsets you, and you say to them, "You're gonna apologize to me. You better apologize to me." And they apologize. They turn around and be like, "Oh, I'm sorry." Who benefited?
Well, see, in the way that you just expressed that, no one is going to benefit in that situation. Because if somebody came at you aggressively telling you, saying it to you that way, they're already saying it so aggressively that you're going to apologize like you're a child, that's not going to work.
Okay.
And the apology wouldn't even create a softening of the whole situation, you know. But when you got somebody who is, that's just not going to work, basically.
For you.
It's not going to work for either side.
No, it could come to work.
No.
It could come to work. It may not initially work. And no, it's not going to initially work. But that's where you realize where a person is, and you understand, you try to understand why they came from this direction. And then it could be you that softens the situation, but if you come at a certain direction with it, you're not going to necessarily soften the situation.
Here's the problem.
Because they're not getting that.
Here's the problem. And I've seen this so many times. When the person who is always softening and understanding where it comes from, but then the other person just keeps doing it and keeps doing it as if they have a right or deserve to keep doing it because that's just how I was raised, or that's my family experiences, or that's my relationship experiences, and that's just how I do things. That's just me. I was talking to some people the other day, and I was telling them, look, when you're in your 20s, you still figure things out. When you're in your 30s, all the stuff that, well, I'm this way because of mom and them and my relationships and all this kind of stuff, then you start making decisions of who you're going to be and have to let that stuff go. But most people don't. Most people don't dig in within themselves to start making, those assertive changes within their lives. And by the time you're in your 40s, you should really be able to decide who you're going to be, especially when you know something is not productive, but you still just keep doing it and just making the justification that that's just how I am, or I just got to learn, or something like that. This is why, if there is conflict and it's going south, there has to be marked improvement through time and effort by the person who went through all that stuff. And they can't expect another person, just like the dude who was being teased by the woman, but he's doing all this stuff. She can't expect him to just keep doing all that stuff while she's still staying stuck in her role.
Nobody's saying that. At a certain point, there has to be an adjustment or a change.
There has to be growth. Like
there has
to be. Said, without conflict, you cannot grow.
There has
you can't
to
stay
be
stuck in a portion of the conflict that's never going
there.
to
There has
growth.
there has to be accountability taken by the person. There has to be a decision made that I'm going to make a change in this thing. But everything is not so cut and dry and easy, as in you should know better, or you're a certain age, or a certain thing has happened, or enough should have happened to you by now that you should make adjustments. Because you can't take years of conflict, years of situations, years of that person's experience, and feel like because you're here, and it may have taken you a certain time period to get past a certain thing, that's what they should do. Never saying make an excuse.
Let me
Never would I say
what I've learned over all these years and all these books and everything else is that, and it happens so many times in different ways of life, and I'm sure everybody has a moment that they can point to. 99% of the time, and it's an unfortunate thing, most people don't change because a change does happen instantly. You do it, you may have dealt with something for a while, dealt with something for a while, and thinking that you're making a change, that you're doing better, but you keep regressing. But true change happens in an instant, and that instant is usually when the person has felt enough pain that they are now determined to make a change. Because most of us can deal with the pain that we're in, we can deal within our misery. You know, if I'm used to having this level of conflict, that's something I'm used to. It's painful, but it's not painful enough to make me change. But then that
doesn't always require pain for change.
I didn't say always, but 99% of the time, people don't make massive changes in their lives until they hit a pain point. Like when I was a trainer,
I don't think it's 99% either.
It's a high percentage.
It's not 99.
That's
like saying only 1% of change happens because because no pain happened. They just said, oh.
I wouldn't lessen it. I wouldn't put it less than 97% because majority of people do not make a change because they say, you know what, it looks so much better over there. Let me go and be over there.
You can't say the majority of people. You're not majority of people. You can't say that.
Then we can't say nothing. Because nobody will ever have the majority of people. But
the majority.
When you look at
the majority.
Nobody.
So 99% of people have to have pain for change to happen.
What I'm saying is that yes, about 97. I'm gonna give it 97% at the minimum. Has to have some kind of pain because
some people just realize there's a better way, or
of course
that's just not working.
Of course, there are some people. But what
I just tell my kids, you don't have to hit your head on every rock just to say I experienced it, and it's gonna make a difference.
You don't.
But if you're dealing with someone having issues with something, your expectation of them making a change should not come based on you. It should come based on them, based on their experience, based on their health, based on their mindset.
It's always going to be
based on their desire.
Everything is always
all of those things.
But okay, so like when I was a personal trainer, all right, almost every client that I had, and I trained thousands of people over the years, almost all of them made the massive change in their lives after a massive pain event. I trained about 3,000-4,000 people.
How many people you said on this planet?
Of course, we can always go into where that you didn't train all of them.
No, I'm not talking about training all of them. So I'm talking about that's the big difference in the amount of people.
If that's
who don't deal with pain, so here's the thing. To make a change.
Here's the thing. When I did CRE work, in order to do a good clinical study to gauge how it's going to affect the billions of people, they don't go out and do a clinical work on billions of people. You take a sample size of the population that can represent a decent number of the population, and then you base your findings on that. Psychology books, therapy books, all these books are based on a sample size of the population to establish the general concept of the population. No,
you say 99 though. You're going beyond what you just said.
But I'm just saying, when you see them saying that this affects this at 97% or whatever percent, when they say these things, they're not recording every divorce to be able to say that divorce rate is about 64%. They've taken a sample size of a city like Atlanta,
so let's come
and they're making a sample size.
Let's come back to what we were talking about. Let's come back to what we were saying.
So what I'm saying is,
that pain that you're saying, 99% of people have to have. That percentage that you're saying there has to be pain that people deal with does not necessarily have to be an excruciating pain.
No,
it doesn't necessarily have to be a pain because I've lost something or someone or
Well, no,
I've had to come to an extreme loss or an extreme situation or extreme case.
I just said it's a pain point. Everybody has their different pain points for different subject matters within their lives, right? And when they hit those pain points, they begin to make changes. That's my whole point is most of the time, most of the changes in our lives occurred because a certain level of a pain point happened. And then we decided that the pain is taking the action to move away from the pain is more beneficial than me just staying in it. Like people who issues, there's at some point, now a lot of people don't ever hit it, but some people make a big change in their finances when they get tired of robbing Peter to pay Paul and they just done it too many times. Or it's that time that they was robbing Peter to pay Paul. They promised their child that they was going to do something and they just saw that look on that child's face. And that was enough. I don't ever want to see that look on my child's face again. It's not a massive pain point, but that look was enough that they changed how they do their finances. They experience, some people, you just feel pain in your joints and you're like, okay, I'm just sick of this pain in my joint. And they finally just go and they start exercising or anything. It could be something small. It could be something big. My point is usually it's some kind of painful experience that makes people change what they're doing. Because rarely do we say, you know what, my life would be better if I can see that my life would be better if I just go do this. Which is why most people don't live the life that they spit out their mouth and say they want to live. They live a life that is sub to that because even though they say, I want to live this, I want to travel, I'm gonna have this life, and that life, they ain't willing to do the work to get there because they good in their little misery points. They think my life is good enough that I ain't really got to do the extra to go over there and be that happy. Otherwise, people would be a lot happier in their lives if they did.
Again, based on experience, some people need to be motivated in different ways. Some people it takes a little bit. You have some people that they see that they're gaining weight and they like, ooh, I'm gonna do something about that regardless. Other people, they need a motivator. They need someone to say, you know what, I see you slipped off. I see you're still eating you don't have healthy eating habits or whatever. So but I'm going to motivate you. I'm going to keep encouraging you. I'm not going to handicap you. I'm not going to condone what you're doing, but I'm going to still help you and motivate you and realize that your conflict of your diet is not her conflict of her diet or my conflict of my diet. Some people need that.
Okay. But even in that, there's a point of pain that is hit first within that whole scenario. Because especially if a man does it to his woman to say that, I see that you slipping, that little word right there, yeah, he might come back and motivate it after, but that little piece of word right there hurt her feelings, made her feel some kind of way. And that begins the motivational pitch, which, like,
so when does it stop motivating her?
Well, no, it doesn't stop motivating her. No. I'm just saying that there's a pain point that is hit first.
When does he stop?
When does he stop?
Yeah. It
switches from motivation to praise. It switches from motivation to praise. So like, I told you, and from like 94 to like 2008, if you got in my car, the only thing you heard were motivational speeches. From every motivational speaker I could find, listen to. I didn't listen to music or at all, just speeches after speeches after speeches. And one of the things that I realized in all those speeches is that there was a pattern that they would follow. And those patterns would always be, hey, you can have an amazing life. Right now, you're stuck in this muck, this mire, this whatever the pain point. And then it was, but you have it within you to be great. It was always that I saw that same pattern in all the speeches. It was the same thing over and over. Which showed me, which is one of the things that cued me in that when at some point within there, you got to give a person a pain point that makes them move within your motivation. And then when they achieve it, then it's a constant praising of them having achieved it and continuing to maintain it. And anytime they start swinging, their vibration slows down, they start swinging back to the negative end, then it's a reminder of where it goes.
What percentage moves to praise?
What percentage moves to praise?
Yeah. How much do you have to see? How much do you have to see to move from motivation to praise?
Actually, you do it. It depends on what it is. You do it throughout in different aspects of it. You both praise. You praise the person, but the pain points are on the activity, but you never pain point the person themselves. That's why character assassinations and name calling is never good. That's why yelling is never good, because when you do that, you're dehumanizing the individual person, not what they did or said. When that's the part that should be criticized, is what they did or said, and then that's where the pain point should come in, and then you reaffirm the person themselves, and that's where the praise part comes in. It's a part of the whole process within itself.
Why are you still on?
Not the last thing she said, not legal, just spiritual.
I'm trying to see if she's still on, because she did leave that comment. Yes, okay. So I'm sorry, because I did say we were going to come back. Why says she doesn't believe in marriage anymore. And then it was asked, did she mind sharing why? And Lorenzo asked, what did you ask? Does she believe in?
Was it what she said right there? Not the legal part, but the spiritual marriage.
Right. So not the legal part, but the spiritual marriage. Okay. So you're saying the paperwork is not necessary. You think that people should be connected spiritually, bonded spiritually to show marriage. They can show it through that form.
Mm-hmm. Looking for an answer.
Yeah. Thank you.
The short time that I did radio, it was like, you can't have dead space. You always got to have some sound.
That radio, we got to give a second to respond.
This video, we can move.
Okay. So not the legal, but the spiritual. We've had many conversations about that. Friend, during our time of just being friends, and years ago, we would have conversations about the legal part and the spiritual part, and both of them hold weight. I'm just gonna put it like this: if your spouse dies, being spiritually connected is not gonna keep you in that house. Being spiritually connected is not going to the legal matters that we do have to deal with on this earth. Is not something it's not something that you can say, well, he said or she said, this is what I mean to them, and this is where we stand with one another. So that would be my part, my side of the argument. It's necessary to me to have the legal documents in place. Just like it would be necessary if a child born out of wedlock, necessary for that child to have their father's name, and that child for their some states it goes to the children before the spouse. Now, if you got the legal paperwork in place, if they drew up a will and it was named and said who legally those things need to go to.
But a will can be contested though.
Let me say real quick. It can be contested. Yeah. But try having no
none is go straight.
Try having no will at all, based on contesting a will. Actually having a will. Yeah. Will. And just for reference, just the plug right here, get a will.
Yes.
Everyone should have a will. Get a will. But what I was saying, like with a child being born out of wedlock, and not having its father's name, and the father not signing the birth certificate, something happens to the father, say Social Security, retirement benefits, all those things. How you gonna battle that?
Well,
if the legal is not in place.
Well, I think it's a little bit different from what she's talking about.
Yes.
All right. So
it's a different what she's talking about. When we're talking about legal.
No,
legal
here's the thing. And correct me if I'm wrong, why people why. I think what she's talking about is just the marriage license. As far as other legal documents, and remember, this was always our big debate. Because I used to always say, and I still say, that if a couple didn't want to get the marriage license, they don't have to. I still don't see an issue with them not getting that. Because there are other legal documents that can cover everything else except, I think the only thing that I realized that there was no legal documentation that would cover would be Social Security. But you don't have to be married to somebody to sign a birth certificate.
I didn't say that.
I'm just saying. You just said that for the child to have the father's last name. You don't have to be married for the father to sign the birth certificate.
I didn't say that. I said try when a child is born out of wedlock and the father does not, and the child does not have the father's name.
Right. That's why I was saying that's why I'm distinguishing the difference. Yes, just the legal document. That's why I was saying the difference, I believe, that she was talking about was just the marriage license, not having the marriage license. Now,
okay.
Now, the good thing about the marriage license.
Let me ask the question. Go ahead.
Well, let me finish. The good thing about the marriage license that it's kind of like a cover almost everything.
That's what I was getting ready to say.
Almost.
That's what I was getting ready to say.
But if for people who don't want the marriage license,
we got all these other documents we got to sign.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing. You just will have, as long as the couple just want to have all the other documents. But here's the thing about the marriage, and this is why I believe a lot of people have a problem with the marriage license, because the marriage license gives the government too much authority over how they're going to divvy up property, divvy up property, and as far as income and wages of whoever makes the most money. Used to be it was just one-sided, but now it's like whoever makes the most money. So some people, they don't want to do it now, and but a lot of people are. A lot of people.
99% of people don't even know that.
Whatever. A lot of people are, and I know a lot of men who they've gotten married. Now, and here's the thing: they got married. Now, most of the time, if the woman made more money than the man, most men aren't going to ask for alimony. They're not going to ask for money, that sort of thing, because our culture says that ain't a real man would never do that, right? But then they've gotten married and then they get divorced, and then the woman is like, I want half. Eddie, I want half, right? You ain't old enough, you might not get that. But and they've hit that a couple times, or one or two times, and they're like, no, I'm not doing that again. I'm not putting my finances at risk like that, right? Because once you're married, there are certain ways that if money is taken out of the household, certain money is used to do certain things, she has the rights, or he has the rights to have it, or a percentage of it. And they don't want to go through that. But the biggest reason I've seen people who said they don't want the marriage license is because they feel like, and I don't know how true it is, I know it happened to me once, the person is showing you sunshines and rainbows, and then as soon as that paperwork gets signed, before the ink dries, it's like your unicorn turned into a rhinoceros. And you're like, what the heck? What happened? And so many people have said that once they get married, legally married, all the shine comes off. And I think that a lot of that is because when you're not having that legal, when you're not married with that legal document, you still have that thing in you that says that I got to keep impressing him or her. I got to keep impressing him or her. I got to keep winning him or her. I got to keep winning him or her. But when you get that legal document that says we married, he's married now, it's like, oh, I got him. So I ain't got to impress him or her no more. I ain't got to keep that shine on for him or her. I can relax and get set in my rut now.
Did they have money?
For him or her. Huh?
Did they have money?
I've seen it happen on both sides with no money or dirt poor living in a trailer park, and that shine comes off because they got the legal paperwork. But I've seen the ones in the trailer park, no paperwork, and they are constantly. So I think it comes down to the individual persons. But culturally, we do fall into these mind shares of getting stuck in a rut when we get this legal document. Because if you think about it, what do people always say? Well, y'all just on a honeymoon. Y'all in y'all honeymoon phase. We're told these things, and you can't be told something over and over and over and over again and not think it's going to affect your mindset. Because people are always going to be a 3-year itch or a 7-year itch. The shine gonna run off. Y'all, the sex gonna go down. The intimacy gonna go down. The fun gonna go down. It's just like getting older. They say, "Oh, you gonna get older. You ain't gonna be doing all this. You gonna want to sit down."
Is it not true?
We're told, but we hear that more in society, whether it's television, radio,
I think that's
family.
Because that's the experience of life. Things get older. Things change. Everything is not, and that's hence why one of the things we talked about was what do you do when our subject this weekend. We have a Zoom podcast that we've been invited to do.
Oh yeah,
discuss, and we'll put it up so you guys can join us.
We're doing a Zoom podcast
on Sunday. But the subject, our subject that we're speaking on is the sex is not always going to be great or hot. Something like that is our subject matter. So it's the reality of life. Things get old. People get tired. Relationships get tired. Things get mundane. Things get boring. The honeymoon phase does end. That's the reality of life. But what do you do in those? Yeah. What do you do in those times?
And that's what I'm saying. What you do is not let it happen.
Impossible for it not to
happen. No, it's not impossible for all of it not to happen.
People get old.
The people will get old, but that doesn't mean you have to slow down. It doesn't. I'm sorry. I told you about that 80-year-old lady who had a 55-year-old boyfriend.
Okay, but that's her. She made an effort to. She stayed in the gym. She did this and she did that.
Hence my point.
No,
she made a decision that she was not going to be like them other old ladies.
Well, what about the things that you cannot control, like bad knees?
Well, I mean, you can't.
A bad back. But what about the things you cannot control?
I'm going to tell you what I got to say about that. What changed my mindset on that is the first time I got to Israel. And before that, I had been telling like people that, y'all got to come to Israel. We got to travel. And they were like, I'm too old to travel. I'm too old. Right. Because I had been telling, my Pappy Gray about that. I got to come to Israel. And I get to Israel. You know what I see going over them cobblestones? I see them walkers. I see the people on the little scooters. They're getting it. They ain't letting life stop them, though.
It's not saying let life stop you. It's saying that there's a shift in the change that you have to you have to realize.
And you do what?
Know that there's a change. So
you make adjustments.
You make adjustments and changes. It doesn't mean that it doesn't. No, you say don't let it stop.
Well, okay.
It's impossible.
When I say don't let it stop, what I mean is you don't let the fire go out. You can keep the fire going. You just have to do it. Right. You make the adjustment to do it different. We saying the same. You make the adjustment to do it. Because I'm just saying there's no reason the intimacy should stop. There's no reason the fun should stop. There's no reason the dating should stop. And when you do find yourself in that rut, then you just, like, what did somebody say earlier? Ask why you're here. The slocums. Why you're here, remember it, and then get back on your horse. Make that decision. You wake up in the morning and you say, all right, today's going to be a great day. And you try to do your best. You try to do what you can on your end, because the only thing you can control is you. To have a good day, to make your spouse's day better, to make everybody around you life better. And you just do what's outside of yourself to be of service to the rest of your circle, your tribe, by doing what that's going to make things better. And that's why I was saying earlier, when things do go awry, when you're in conflict, what did I do wrong? How did I mess this up? or like I like to say at work, premeditato malorum. What all could go wrong? What could go worse in this situation? So if that's a possibility, what can I do so that don't happen? And then do that. And see how it works out. And keep going forward.
All right, guys, it's 10:25.
Oh, it's 10:25.
A little bit over. We started at like 9:15. So this is justified that keep that going because we want to make sure those who want to be here for an hour, we do have an hour, and we're here for an hour.
For those of you who late and just jumped on, you're gonna have to go back and rewatch it.
Thank you for joining us. We were on Monday tonight. We had a little phase going on, but I think it was
yeah. I can tell you, I was gonna iron some more shirts for the week, but I'm going to eat, take a shower, and go to sleep because I'm tired.
All right. You guys have a great day tomorrow. And we will see you all on Sunday.
Sunday.
We will post there'll
be a Zoom meeting.
Information to log on to the Zoom meeting, and the subject is what do you do? Well, no, the subject is the sex is not always going to be high. It does not stop, but it does slow down, but it can still be good. Yep.
Which one you think about that?
Most definitely.
Out of the Claudette.
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 All right. Y'all have a great night.
All right, my bonus daughter over there got a chia pet in her hand. She took that chia pet off her head.
You know?
Oh,
what happened?
She grated the finger and squeezed lemon juice in it. All right. So, guys, we look forward to it. We thank you guys. Join us for the podcast. For the Zoom meeting. Most of the information about the Zoom meeting is going to be posted on our tag team wedding group on Facebook. So go to that page for that information about Zoom. I will post it on my YouTube and my Facebook, and Donna's going to post it on her Facebook. We're going to share it and do all that. We're not sure if we can post the information on this YouTube yet because I don't know if we have enough subscribers over there to be able to post stuff like that. So y'all have a great day.
See you guys Sunday.
And remember why you're here. Remember why you're here. Wow. We're hitting the end. We ain't all the way out, little girl.